With you, Top, here are the 100 scariest ancient alien theories. Petrified soldiers. What would you think if I told you? An unidentified flying object was shot down in the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, turning 23 soldiers to stone. No, this isn't science fiction. It's from a declassified CIA document archived after the Soviet Union collapsed. The location is unknown. In the late 1980s, Soviet troops conduct exercises when a low-flying disc-shaped object appears. One shot brings it down, and it crashes near the base. A few minutes later, 5 beings emerge from it. They are short, with disproportionately large heads and black eyes. They merge into a single entity. A high-pitched buzzing sound is heard, a flash, and everyone nearby is petrified. 2 survivors stood in the shadows. The report states the soldiers' remains and shipwreckage were later taken to a classified scientific base near Moscow. Researchers reportedly found the body's structure resembled limestone, as if their molecules had been altered. Official science may dismiss this as nonsense, but the CIA document states it clearly. If this is true, we are dealing with beings possessing technologies that are beyond our understanding. Message to extraterrestrials. The golden record attached to the Voyager spacecraft is a unique message from humanity to another civilization. Launched in 1977, Voyager 1 and Voyager 2 became key tools for exploring the solar system and symbols of humanity's search for intelligent life beyond Earth. The record features greetings in 55 languages, ancient and modern, music from renowned composers, natural sounds like wind, waves, birdsong, and a human heartbeat. It also features 100 images showing daily life, animals, architecture, and scientific achievements. Instructions and diagrams showing Earth's location relative to pulsars in our galaxy are engraved on the disk's cover to help extraterrestrials decipher its contents. This record serves as a cosmic ambassador intended for both extraterrestrial observers and future generations of Earth. It serves as a reminder that humanity is a single whole, a whole capable of coming together to represent its culture, history, and planet. The Voyager message is humanity's first conscious step in attempting to establish contact with extraterrestrial civilizations, the bodies of extraterrestrial beings. Ideas about the appearance of aliens are diverse. Some believe that they look like humans, but with differences. A different skin color or genome elements resembling reptiles or plants. Such images are often found in literature and movies. For example, in the Guardians of the Galaxy films, aliens are depicted as furry or tree-like humanoids. Rocket, the raccoon, and Groot, with his bark, embodied this idea. Other researchers and writers believe that it's pointless to form ideas about alien life based on Earth's evolution. Polish writer Stanisław Lem used a different approach in his novel Solaris. His alien intelligence is portrayed as an ocean that interacts with humans via their memories, letting them correct the past. This was a philosophical reply to anthropocentrism in depicting aliens. There are also more sinister versions. Some believe that alien life forms could be parasites, using the human body as a habitat. A similar image appeared in Venom, where an alien symbiote used a human host. Recently, Mexican ufologist Jaime Maussan claimed to present remains belonging to ancient aliens. These humanoid-like creatures have 3-fingered limbs, no teeth, and unusual physical features. X-ray analysis revealed rare metals in their bodies, such as cadmium and osmium, which are used today in satellite systems. An egg-shaped formation was found in one of the mummies. Mystery enthusiasts remain, but scientists are skeptical. In 2017, Maussan presented findings that were actually the remains of ancient children, not aliens. To confirm or refute the truth of these new claims, serious research will be required. For now, the discovery is still debated by ufologists and scientists. Unidentified flying object S are not just about the 20th century. When we hear the word unidentified flying object, the 20th century immediately comes to mind. Roswell, movies, tinfoil hats. People saw unidentified objects long before television and aviation existed. We have documented cases, even from the times of ancient Rome. The chronicles mention fiery shields, flying ships, strange sky beings, and abductions in the clouds. This was recorded not by fiction writers, but by historians, monks, and officials in the 4th century AD. Roman chronicler Iuli Obsequentus details many such cases in his book Liber Prodigiorum. They reportedly saw blazing spheres, glowing ships, and beings descending over Rome. At the very least, that's how the eyewitnesses perceived it. Pliny the Elder also mentions a mysterious burning shield that hovered over the city during the Second Punic War. This isn't the only case. Similar accounts appear in Irish, Chinese, and Indian chronicles. What was it? A coincidence in symbolism? Mass hallucination? Or did we really observe the same phenomenon, just calling it by different names in different eras? Once gods, then angels, now aliens. Maybe their essence remains the same. The London Hammer. In 1936, an unusual discovery was made in Texas, which became the subject of heated debates among scientists and ufologists. The discovered artifact, known as the London Hammer, was found sealed inside a piece of petrified limestone, which, according to some estimates, is millions of years old. This led to the suggestion that the hammer might have belonged to a highly advanced ancient civilization, or perhaps even had an extraterrestrial origin. Supporters of the theories of paleocontact and alternative history believe that the London Hammer is evidence of the existence of an unknown civilization that possessed advanced technologies long before known cultures appeared. They argue that such an artifact couldn't have accidentally ended up in ancient rock layers, but there's also a scientific explanation suggesting the hammer entered the limestone long after it formed. In their opinion, the age of the fossil does not necessarily indicate the age of the artifact, and it is possible that the hammer was embedded in the sedimentary rock at a much later time. To this day, the London Hammer remains one of those mysteries that continue to intrigue people and spark debates about the origins of humanity and its history. And what do you think? Could our ancestors have really made contact with extraterrestrial beings? Or are all these discoveries just part of a hoax created in our time? Gabian astronaut. In 1834, in the Gobi Desert in Mongolia, the famous English explorer and cartographer Charles Edwin discovered a mysterious cave in a rock. Inside the cave was a nearly 5-meter-long skeleton with a large skull and curved ribs. Nearby were metal objects, heavily corroded. One object caught the scientist's attention, a stone slab featuring a star map and markings that didn't match known research. According to Edwin, the slab is not just an artifact, but a tool for navigation, or part of an ancient astronomical device. Interestingly, studies have shown that the material of the slab contains rare terrestrial elements that are not typical for the region where the cave was found. This has led to speculation about the possible extraterrestrial origin of both the slab itself and the being whose remains were found nearby. Further study of the stone slab revealed that the cartographic markings on it could have been used for navigation in outer space. It is assumed that the being could have been a pilot or an explorer from a distant star system. Scientists suggested that the being's death could have resulted from the crash of its ship, parts of which might have been scattered across the desert and buried under layers of sand for centuries. This discovery remained little known due to political and scientific disputes about the origin and significance of the artifacts found. However, it still sparks debates among scientists and adventurers seeking to uncover ancient civilizations' mysteries. Examples from Japan. The Japanese government has long denied the existence of UFOs, citing a lack of credible evidence and concerns about possible public panic. In addition, the government sought to maintain control over information to prevent any data leaks. However, Japanese pilots have repeatedly reported sightings of UFOs. One of the well-known incidents occurred in 1986 when the crew of a Japanese cargo plane over Alaska observed 3 unidentified objects that accompanied them for 50 minutes. This incident received a lot of attention and sparked interest among both ufologists and the public. In 2020, the Japanese government's stance on UFOs shifted dramatically. Defense Minister Taro Kono stated that the government would start taking unidentified flying object reports more seriously and develop guidelines for pilots and the military during unidentified object encounters. This decision was made amid a growing number of sightings and pressure from the public. The Minister of Defense initiated the development of standard procedures for collecting and analyzing data on such incidents and also strengthened cooperation with international partners. The analysis of unidentified flying object data conducted by the Japanese military showed that some sightings truly cannot be explained by ordinary phenomena or known aircraft. However, so far, no convincing evidence of the presence of extraterrestrial technologies has been found. Religion, UFOs, and cosmic mythology. Today we separate people into believers and skeptics, but ufology is one field where faith and science overlap. Essentially, UFOs are a new form of an old religion. Instead of gods, there are now beings from other star systems. Belief in aliens has replaced belief in angels. They come from the skies. They are more intelligent than us, and they often bring revelations. Paul Kurse called ufology the space age's mythology. He said people need to feel that they are not alone, that someone is watching and perhaps guiding us. Previously, God did this. Now it's cosmic brothers. Carl Jung wrote in the 1950s that unidentified flying object images are projections of the collective unconscious. He said that in ancient times, people saw shining angels in the sky, but today they'd see alien ships. The only difference is in cultural interpretation, but the archetype is the same, a contact with something higher. But there are also those who went further. Since the 1970s, real religions began to appear in the world. For example, the movement of Rael, the founder of the Elohim Temple. He claimed that he personally met with aliens and even visited their planet. And there are dozens of such movements. People sincerely believe that we are the product of genetic engineering created by an extraterrestrial civilization. Some are waiting for the second coming, others the return of their creators. America's waiting for little men from Saturn. America is once again gripped by excitement, this time because of unidentified flying drones. The situation is reminiscent of past waves of mass interest, from flying saucers to Chinese weather balloons. This trend keeps repeating, each time adding new details and conspiracy theories. Amidst the many videos circulating online, some drones look more like a product of computer graphics. Anyone with some video editing experience can easily spot special effects added in After Effects. However, the video still sparks heated debates, as viewers often believe what they see. President Biden's administration says these are civilian drones, while Donald Trump urges the government to shoot down unidentified objects and disclose the full truth. Americans are known for their fondness for conspiracy theories. Like flying saucers once did, drones quickly spark speculation. They are already fueling talks about alien reconnaissance, Saturn agents, or even the possible inauguration of an alien leader. Some people recall black helicopters, allegedly abducting people on the orders of reptilians. Now there's renewed alarm, this time over drones. It's interesting how hype about unidentified objects appears so regularly. Remember the Chinese balloons that flew over the United States for a long time before they were suddenly noticed? At that time, society was panicked, but it quickly faded. Perhaps this new wave of drone fever will soon die down as well, or maybe we really are on the verge of a new chapter in the history of strange phenomena. But for now, it seems that the world is simply entertaining itself with new mystical theories to distract from more pressing problems. The mystery of the Dropa discs. In 1938, in a remote region of China in the city of Bayan Karaula, archaeologists discovered amazing artifacts, the Dropa discs. These discs, made of granite, are about 30 centimeters in diameter and approximately 1 centimeter thick. They attracted the attention of scientists with their unusual appearance. Each disc contains central holes and carved spiral grooves, resembling tracks for playing sound. That is, they are similar to vinyl records and may possibly store sound. The sounds of ancient people, nature, or even something extraterrestrial. The most intriguing thing is that the grooves on the discs contain microscopic symbols resembling hieroglyphs, Researchers claim that these symbols may be a form of ancient writing encrypted in the spiral patterns. Some scientists' translations suggest the discs may describe an ancient civilization called the Dropa, which might have contacted extraterrestrials. Legend says the Dropa tribe came to Earth from a distant star about 12,000 years ago. But unfortunately, almost no artifacts remain from them, except for these discs. The Dropa discs are among the most mysterious archaeological finds, raising questions about ancient contact with extraterrestrials. The Salt Man from Iran. This astonishing discovery was found in the mid-1990s in salt mines near Sharabad in the mountains of Iran. Archaeologists think these are the remains of an ancient salt mine worker who died at work about 1,500 years ago. The unique conditions of the cave, saturated with salty vapors, helped preserve his body in an astonishing state. Even the hair has been preserved on the mummy, which, under the influence of salt, has acquired a whitish tint, as well as the beard, which adds to the find. Scientists think the cave's high salt concentration stopped decomposition, naturally mummifying the body. The salted body looks as if time has stopped, allowing us to look into the face of the past. The Salt Man became both an archaeological sensation and a valuable source of information about people of that era. Today, this mummy is a reminder of the harsh reality of the past and a unique example of human interaction with nature. Indian airplanes. Amazing artifacts known as Indian airplanes were found in the territory of Mexico and South America. These miniature gold figurines, dating back hundreds or possibly even thousands of years, are striking in their detail. At first glance, they look like toys, but their shape is too similar to modern flying machines, such as space shuttles or airplanes. Scientists were especially intrigued by the tail rudders, the symmetrical notches on the wings, and other elements that would have no practical purpose in a toy. This raises the question, what served as the basis for creating these figurines? The most likely explanation is that the craftsmen copied what they saw. It is possible that these artifacts are a reflection of real events, when the inhabitants of ancient America observed the flights of mysterious craft. Some researchers link these findings to theories about ancient astronauts, claiming that the Anunnaki aliens or representatives of another civilization visited Earth and left their traces. The mystery of these little airplanes is further deepened by another fact. Modern engineers were able to create models based on these artifacts, which, when fitted with an engine, are actually capable of flying. What is this? A coincidence, an old myth, or proof of technology from other planets? Charles Ford and the search for anomalies? You're not alone when you see something unexplainable in the sky. A century ago, a man named Charles Ford devoted his life to such moments. He wasn't seeking proof, just collecting oddities. Everything that didn't fit into science, rains of fish, flashes of light in the sky, people disappearing, reports of mysterious objects, he didn't explain, just wrote it down, because he knew. Sometimes facts are scarier than any theory. Ford didn't believe in science or religion because both ignored the unknown. The most interesting things are found in uncomfortable situations. He said, between facts and fantasy, there's a zone where anything is possible, and that zone is real. We just don't know how to look there. His books were read in secret like something forbidden. His ideas inspired dozens of movies and television shows, from The Twilight Zone to The X-Files. He first showed that anomalies are not nonsense, but a misunderstood part of reality. Belief isn't required, just keep your eyes open. Millions now carry on his work, except every time someone says online, I saw a glowing object hovering and disappearing. That's Forteanism, a culture that investigates the strange instead of rejecting it. But there's also a downside. We doubt everything more and more often, and we rarely know what to believe at all. And that's not just a hunt for anomalies anymore, that's already a symptom. First, a precise image of the moon. In the early 17th century, the invention of the telescope sparked major discoveries in astronomy. Scientists saw the moon, once believed smooth, in a completely new way. In 1609, Galileo Galilei first used a telescope to study the moon, discovering many craters, mountains, and valleys. His observations became a true revolution in the perception of celestial bodies. Galileo recorded his discoveries in a series of detailed drawings which depicted them for the first time. These images were included in his work, Starry Messenger, published in 1610. Thanks to these sketches, it became clear that the surface of the moon is much more complex than ancient philosophers had assumed, and consists of irregularities resembling mountains on Earth. Interestingly, Galilei wasn't the first to use a telescope on the moon. Thomas Harriot, an English astronomer, began his observations of the moon back in 1609, but his drawings were less detailed and not as widely depicted. It was Galilei who had a key influence on the development of astronomy. The discovery of the moon as an uneven and dynamic object inspired many generations of researchers. Some ufologists believe that Galilei's drawings might have been the first depictions of anomalies on the surface of the moon. This interest persists, leading to numerous theories about some lunar features possibly having extraterrestrial origins. Metal objects from Gaius. The Lamana caves in Ecuador have long drawn archaeologists, mystics, and ufology enthusiasts. The discovery of metal objects there remains mysterious and mystical. According to legends, metal plates were discovered in Lamana, engraved with symbols that resemble modern diagrams, maps, and even technical drawings. These discoveries became the basis for hypotheses about the existence of an unknown civilization in the distant past that possessed highly advanced technologies, or about contacts between ancient people and extraterrestrial beings. Supporters of these theories claimed that such complex and detailed symbols could not have been created with primitive tools and must show deeper knowledge. Some researchers even suggest that the plates could have served as star maps or technological instructions left by extraterrestrials. However, most scientists are quite skeptical about these findings. There is no convincing evidence that the metal objects from Lamana actually date back to ancient times. Some experts point to possible traces of modern metalworking and the inconsistency of these artifacts with the styles and technologies known in ancient Ecuador. Moreover, there are no reliable datings or context for the discovery of these items, which further undermines their authenticity. Archaeologists believe that these artifacts may have been created in a later period, possibly as part of a hoax or to attract tourists. Thus, despite the fascinating and mysterious stories about the metal objects from the Lamana caves, their origin and significance remain in question. The story of the Lamana caves is an example of how myths and legends can intertwine with reality, creating fascinating but often unreliable accounts of our past. A message in DNA? We send radio signals into space, probe distant stars, and build giant antennas in the hope that someone might answer. But maybe all this time the answer has already been here, not somewhere in the sky but inside ourselves. In 2013, two Kazakhstani scientists, Vladimir Shcherbak and Maxim Makukov, put forward an idea that sends chills down your spine. They studied the structure of DNA and noticed something strange, repeating numerical patterns, too precise, too orderly. One number appeared especially often, 37, and it didn't occur by chance but in key places of the genetic code, as if someone left a signature right inside us. Their hypothesis is, what if DNA is not just an instruction manual for assembling a human, but also a time capsule? A message that's ultra-durable, passed down for millions of years. A message from those who came before us or created us may sound crazy, yet we do the same, sending a golden record on the Voyagers, putting messages in bottles and hoping to be found. Why couldn't someone else do the same? And now, imagine, we might be that bottle, just not able to read what's written on it yet. Unidentified flying object expert found a portal. Expert. Carl Nelly from the organization Unidentified Flying Object and Paranormal Research Ireland claims that there may be a portal in Central Ireland between Athlone and Slane, through which unidentified flying object S enter the Earth. According to him, these sightings have increased in recent months, and their purpose may be related to studying the military strength of humans. This statement came amid reports of unidentified objects spotted near military bases and nuclear facilities. Nellie said United States authorities couldn't determine. The expert paid special attention to Ireland, where numerous unidentified flying object sightings have been recorded. Nellie believes that places like the region between Atlan and Slane could be portals through which alien ships travel between space and Earth. He also noted these phenomena happen worldwide at the same time, indicating a global rise in activity. Write in the comments whether we should trust such experts, and do you believe in the existence of extraterrestrial life? The mystery of Arkham. Arkham, often called the Russian Stonehenge, is one of the most mysterious archaeological sites in Russia. Located in the steppes of the southern Urals, this megalithic complex impresses with its size and precise layout, making it similar to the famous Stonehenge in Great Britain. Both in terms of astronomical functions and geographical latitude, Arkham is a circular fortress with two concentric rings of walls and streets connecting dwellings, which are built with consideration of ancient astronomical knowledge. Studies have shown that the buildings in Arkham were constructed in such a way as to observe 18 astronomical events, including solstices and equinoxes. This indicates a high level of astronomical knowledge among the peoples who inhabited this region during the Bronze Age. Arkham not only attracts archaeologists, but is also of interest to researchers of anomalous phenomena. Unusual magnetic anomalies are recorded in the area of the complex, which sometimes affect the operation of electronic devices. These anomalies, as well as a number of other unexplained phenomena, give rise to various theories, including the assumption that Arkham could have been used or even created by extraterrestrial civilizations. In addition, the unique architecture and complex water supply system indicate a high level of social organization and engineering skill of its builders. These qualities make Arkham one of the key Bronze Age monuments in Eurasia. The impact of the asteroid and contact with the gods. The asteroid, which is believed to have wiped out the dinosaurs about 66 million years ago, left a significant mark on the Yucatan Peninsula. This impact created the Chicxulub crater, which remains an important geological site to this day. Although this cataclysm occurred long before the rise of the Maya civilization, its long-term geological and ecological consequences may have influenced the formation of the region where this culture later developed. Archaeological findings, such as cities and structures destroyed and buried under layers of sediment, may indirectly support the theory of cataclysms that occurred in Yucatan. Nevertheless, there is no direct evidence that the Maya knew about the asteroid that wiped out the dinosaurs or had any information about them. The idea that the Maya could have come into contact with dinosaurs is scientifically unfounded. Dinosaurs became extinct long before the first humans appeared, let alone the Maya civilization. However, in their mythology and art, you can find depictions of creatures that can be interpreted as legendary or mythical animals, but this is not evidence of actual contact with dinosaurs. Researchers occasionally find dinosaur fossils in Mesoamerica, but these discoveries are from before human history. Such findings may be of interest to geologists or paleontologists, but they do not support the theory of contact between the Maya and dinosaurs. Knowledge of ancient cataclysms may have been integrated into their mythology and beliefs related to natural phenomena and the actions of the Maya gods. They believed in the cyclical nature of time and recurring catastrophes, which could have reflected their understanding of the past and their anticipation of future events. Changes in human DNA. Some scientists discuss the possibility that alien microbes could affect human DNA, leading to significant changes in our genetic code. This hypothesis suggests that such microorganisms could not only exist but also influence human evolution, making us more like them. In support of this idea, researchers point to a number of observable changes in the human population, such as a decrease in testosterone levels and a reduction in sperm count in men. These trends can be interpreted as signs of evolutionary changes, possibly caused by external influences, including environmental factors or even the impact of extraterrestrial agents. The decrease in testosterone levels and sperm count can have serious consequences for reproductive health and the demographic structure of the population. What makes this topic important from both a scientific and a social point of view? We've been observed for a long time. If we're searching for signals, it's reasonable to think someone might search for us too. But what if they found us long ago? In 2020, a group of astronomers published a study that changed the very way the question was posed. Cornell University scientists found 1,400 star systems from which Earth can be seen passing in front of the Sun. They would view Earth as we view exoplanets. Their main conclusion is straightforward. If intelligent life exists, they may already know we're here. Moreover, 508 of these star systems are aligned so Earth would be visible against the Sun for over 10 hours. That's enough to detect an atmosphere with oxygen, methane, and possibly signs of life. They could have detected us thousands of years ago, observed us, waited, or maybe they've already sent a signal that's still on its way. Project Online is a global network of radio telescopes monitoring deep space anomalies and signals. We've listened to thousands of systems, but so far there's only silence. Modern scientists are cautious but not skeptical. No one laughs anymore at those who say we might not be alone because there are billions of potentially habitable planets. The Codex Gigas Mysteries. The Codex Gigas, also known as the Devil's Bible, is an ancient manuscript that holds many mysteries. Created in the 13th century, it impresses with its size and content. Inside the book, you can find not only the texts of the Old and New Testaments, but also an image of the devil himself, which takes up an entire page. However, the most intriguing are the astronomical maps, which appear unusually detailed for their time. This has given rise to many theories about a possible extraterrestrial origin. Some researchers believe that the manuscript may contain encrypted messages or knowledge passed down by extraterrestrial civilizations. Legend has it that the Codex Gigas was written by a monk in a single night with the help of the devil. What secrets does this mysterious manuscript hold? And is it possible that its pages contain encrypted keys to ancient knowledge that came from space? The Codex Gigas remains one of the most mysterious artifacts of antiquity, which someday we will definitely study. An extraordinary burial was unearthed. In a female burial from the 6th century AD, found in eastern Lincolnshire County, England, archaeologists discovered a unique 3rd century AD Roman bowl. This discovery from a cemetery excavation in Scrembe lets researchers study Anglo-Saxon and Roman cultural interactions and reveals burial customs of the era. The bowl, made of copper alloy, was found in the grave of a young woman identified as SK-18. In addition to the bowl, the deceased was also found with 2 brooches, beads, and bracelets. Placing the artifact beside the woman's head shows its symbolic importance. The Scrembe bowl is well preserved, measuring 5.7 centimeter tall with a capacity of about 280 milliliter cores. It features Roman-style decoration, crescents and hearts in red, aquamarine, and bluish-purple enamel showcase Roman craftsmen's skill. The bowl is thought to have been made in France and brought to England in the 3rd century. Analysis of the inner surface of the bowl showed traces of unheated pork fat. This may indicate its use for ritual or medical purposes. Pork fat was used at that time to treat infections, which is consistent with Byzantine texts from that period. The find is unique because the bowl is fully intact, unlike most Roman artifacts, which are usually found in pieces. Figurines on Mali. One of the most mysterious artifacts of the African continent is the figurines on Mali, found in Sierra Leone in West Africa. These ancient sculptures, carved from stone, depict strange creatures with disproportionately large heads, bulging eyes, and other unusual features that are not characteristic of human anatomy. Some of them even depict scenes that can be interpreted as mythological or religious. The distinct shapes and features of these figurines have drawn interest from archaeologists and ancient astronaut theorists alike. Some researchers believe that the figurines in Mali may represent images of extraterrestrial beings with whom the ancient inhabitants of the region may have had contact. In their opinion, the strange proportions and features of the figurines may indicate that they were created under the impression of real beings of extraterrestrial origin. This theory, although it lacks scientific evidence, adds an aura of mystery to the Mali figurines and attracts the attention of ufologists and fans of the mystical. Official science regards the Mali figurines as religious or ritual objects. It believes these artifacts were likely used in ancient ceremonies or rituals for worshiping gods or spirits, since they could have symbolized certain mythological characters. As I mentioned to you before, when archaeologists or historians can't explain the origin of an artifact, it inevitably becomes an object of religious significance. Interestingly, the figurines in Mali are often found deep in the ground, sometimes together with other ancient artifacts, various iron objects or weapons, which makes it more difficult to date them and determine their cultural context. Some findings suggest that these artifacts may have existed in very ancient times, possibly long before the appearance of known civilizations in this region. When UFOs became a matter of state concern, antiquity is not the place where you would expect bureaucracy documenting UFOs, but in Rome, it existed. The priests had direct access to power, and they kept official chronicles of omens. Everything that happened in the sky was perceived as a message from the gods, and if a blazing shield flew over the city, it was considered a political signal. Gaius Julius Obsequens, a Roman historian, collected such reports in the Prodigorum Liber, and the list looked eerily familiar. Glowing discs, moving lights, figures in the sky that hovered. This isn't folklore, it's official government reporting. The wildest part is that sometimes, based on these phenomena, the Senate would overturn decisions, start wars, or, on the contrary, make peace. Because if a sign comes from above, you have to respond to it. One of these signs was the disappearance of King Romulus. Rome's founder was reportedly taken up into the sky before the crowd. He didn't die or flee, but ascended. So Rome has a god founder who came from up there. It's not about their belief in UFOs, but how seriously they took them. The ancients couldn't explain it, but they didn't ignore it. Today we act like everything is fine, even though we know things aren't clear. The Sabu disc, and this is one of the most mysterious artifacts of ancient Egypt, found in the tomb of Sabu, a descendant of Pharaoh Agib. It is at least 5,000 years old, but its true purpose remains a mystery. At first glance, it's a stone disc with 3 curved petals, but the details make you think. The thickness in some places is only 1.5 manometer, which indicates incredible precision in its manufacture. Considering the level of technology at that time, many people wonder how this was possible. Scientists put forward hypotheses that the disc could have been part of a ritual or a decorative element, but there are other theories that go beyond the ordinary. Some researchers think the Sabu disc might have copied a device left by sky visitors, a highly advanced civilization that visited Earth in ancient times. The structure and shape of the artifact resemble modern aerodynamic devices or even components of complex mechanisms. The Egyptians may have viewed this object as sacred and attempted to replicate something they saw but didn't understand. Some think the Sabu disc holds the key to understanding ancient civilizations' contact with extraterrestrials. These are speculations for now, but the artifact's mystical aura continues to excite and invites us to explore past mysteries. UFOs of the Third Reich. If all this talk about ancient UFOs seems too mythical, then this story is much closer to our time and is far more frightening. Because we're going to talk about technologies that were allegedly developed in Nazi Germany during the last years of the war, and about a secret that neither the Allies nor history could take away. The Nazis developed remarkable innovations, including the first ballistic missiles and jet aircraft. But there is a separate layer of theory that claims flying machines of unimaginable shape and power were being developed in hidden Reich bunkers. They're known as Honebu, Vril, and the most mysterious Die Glocke, the bell. The bell isn't just technology, it's a legend shrouded in rumors, disappearances, and mysterious deaths. According to rumors, the object was a metallic machine about 4 meters tall shaped like a bell, which could distort space and time, an anti-gravity engine based on some kind of dark energy, which caused the deaths of project staff. Some claim that Diagloki disappeared along with the SS elites who went to Antarctica, to a mysterious area called New Swabia. There, in the inaccessible icy depths, a base was allegedly built from which a new era began. Some versions say Americans found the bell and took it to the United States. That's why technology advanced so rapidly after 1945. It's hard to believe until you start looking at memoirs, classified documents, and strange activity in the Antarctic region in the late 1940s. Some even link this to Operation High Jump, the largest United States polar military expedition, whose official goal was research. But according to unofficial sources, it was to intercept Nazi survivors with unidentified flying object technology. Historians deny this, but the question remains, where did so many scientists, engineers, and prototypes go? Why is there so little information, even after nearly 80 years? The Great Comet of 1861. The 19th century became a special time for those who loved to watch the stars. During this period, from 1811 to 1882, people observed as many as 8 great comets that amazed both scientists and ordinary people. These celestial events inspired artists, composers, and even amateur astronomers. Among all these comets, Donati's Comet of 1858 holds a special place. It was the first comet to be photographed. An even more astonishing event was the appearance of the Great Comet of 1861. It came so close to Earth that our planet literally passed through its tail. For 2 days, this tail blocked the sunlight, creating an unusual twilight even during the daytime. The comet was discovered by a farmer from Australia, John Tebbutt. This young amateur astronomer noticed it in the constellation Eridanus on May 13, 1861. At first, he thought it was a star, but later realized it was a comet. After confirming his discovery, Tebbutt sent a letter to the local observatory and even published an article in the Sydney Morning Herald newspaper. News of the comet's discovery quickly spread worldwide. By June 1861, it was observed in the northern hemisphere, with English newspapers publishing remarkable accounts of its brightness and size. The comet's tail filled much of the sky and was visible even in daylight. The real sensation was that the Earth crossed the comet's tail, which caused rare atmospheric phenomena. The sky turned yellow and reddish shades, and the sunlight became unusually weak. The magnificence of the comet impressed contemporaries, and for John Tebbutt, its discovery marked the beginning of a brilliant career. He later built his own observatory and made many valuable observations. His contribution to astronomy is immortalized on the Australian $100 bill, and the Great Comet of 1861 itself remains one of the brightest events in the history of space observation. Subtitles Shiva Lingam. In the city of Sirsi in India, there is a unique pilgrimage site, Sahasralinga. Here, amidst natural beauty, there are stone images of Shiva Lingam that amaze with their appearance, especially during the Mahashivaratri festival. When the river level drops, the sculptures become visible, drawing thousands of pilgrims and tourists to see and worship the sacred lingams. Shiva Lingam is a symbol of Shiva, one of the main deities in Hinduism, representing the source of creation and destruction. Interestingly, there are not only religious but also scientific debates surrounding the Shiva Lingam. Some proponents of the ancient astronaut theory claim that the Shiva Lingam could represent a powerful technological device, similar in function to a modern nuclear reactor. Based on the shape and properties of the lingam, they suggest that ancient people might have used advanced technologies. On the other hand, modern scientists may interpret the Shiva Lingam as a symbol of atomic energy, which also has the potential for both great benefit and destruction. This analogy highlights the dual nature of Shiva, who in the Hindu tradition is both a creator and a destroyer at the same time. What kind of aliens did the ancients see? People often picture aliens as gray humanoids with big eyes, but ancient texts, frescoes, and myths show very different images. These are fiery chariots, bird people, and shining gods who came from the sky. They aren't always strangers. Sometimes they're creators, mentors, or punishing forces that erase civilizations from Earth. The Sumerians had the Anunnaki, the Dogon had the Nommo from Sirius. Hindus had gods on Vimanas, and Native Americans had the Maya, Quetzalcoatl, and Perseids. All of them are described as higher beings who came from somewhere out there and then left somewhere. Coincidence, or did all ancient civilizations interact with different forms of the same intelligence? Maybe it's not just aliens in a flying saucer, but something much more complex, a consciousness that appears in a way that the observer is ready to perceive. Hongshan artifacts. The Hongshan civilization is one of the most mysterious cultures of ancient Egypt, which existed about 6,000 to 7,000 years ago. It left behind unusual jade artifacts that depict humanoids with teardrop-shaped heads and huge eyes. Some of the figurines resemble creatures riding water scooters or even flying machines. These images do not fit into the usual idea of ancient cultures and make you wonder who or what they were trying to depict. The craftsmen of Kunshan are also credited with the unique Kunshan caves, discovered in 1999. These man-made caves are striking for their size and complexity. Inside, you'll find pools, bridges, staircases, and passageways. The largest cave covers 12,600 square meters. But the real mystery is the traces left on the walls. They resemble modern tunnel boring machines, although technology of that level is believed not to have existed thousands of years ago. In addition, it remains unclear where the massive amounts of excavated rock disappeared to. Scientists have found no evidence of its use. Some researchers believe the caves and jade artifacts indicate contact with a more advanced, possibly extraterrestrial, civilization. The mystery of the Antarctic monolith. In 2020, in a remote part of Antarctica, at a depth of more than 2 kilometers, researchers discovered a mysterious object that was named the Antarctic monolith. This object, a rectangular stone slab about 3 meters high and 1.5 meters wide, was found using an under-ice radar used to map the landscape beneath the ice sheet. The strangest part began when scientists studied the monolith. The stone's surface was covered with intricate geometric patterns and roosters, resembling ancient symbols found in South America, Africa, and Asia. Analysis of the material showed that the stone has no analogs among the known rocks of Antarctica. This means that it ended up there from another place. The monolith also had strange magnetic properties, with instruments detecting a constant weak magnetic field. Charred remains of organic materials were found near the monolith, which, according to scientists, could have been ancient plants or even the remains of living creatures that lived millions of years ago. These organic materials, encased in ice, could provide unique data about the ancient ecosystem of Antarctica, when it was part of the supercontinent Gondwana. Some researchers suggest that this could be evidence of a highly developed civilization that existed long before humans appeared. Others claim that this is potential proof of contact with extraterrestrial beings. Hundreds witnessed, but few believe. We often assume all unidentified flying object encounters are just personal stories. Someone saw or thought they saw something. But history also knows of mass sightings and official investigations. For example, the Fatima apparitions in Portugal in 1917. Tens of thousands saw the sun dance, change color, and size. The church recognized it as a miracle. However, ufologists disagree, noting the events closely mirror typical unidentified flying object behavior, or the 19th century incident in Knock, Ireland. Many people saw shining figures appear near the church floating in the air. Again, a religious explanation was given. But Jacques Vallée, a well-known ufologist, cites these as typical examples of external intelligence influencing the human psyche. He doesn't deny that the phenomena are real. He simply asks why they repeat themselves, but in different forms. In the past, people saw the Virgin Mary. Today they see gray humanoids, and tomorrow perhaps something else. Two-headed alien. In Tibet, a strange mummy with 2 heads was discovered, which was immediately dubbed the two-headed alien. This artifact stunned scientists and mysticism fans alike. The mummy appears otherworldly, sparking theories ranging from mutations to extraterrestrial origins. Some researchers believe that it could be a ritual artifact or a cult image created by ancient people to worship unknown forces. Interestingly, the structure of the mummy looks unusual even for mutations known to biology. The proportions of its body and the shape of its head suggest that it could have been the embodiment of something mythical or otherworldly. Ancient Tibetan legends often mention celestial beings who visited the earth. Perhaps this artifact is an attempt to depict those whom the ancients considered gods. However, there is also a more down-to-earth version. The mummy may be the result of artificial mummification of two different bodies, joined together for ritual purposes. Stone Pipes of Baigou. In a remote area of China, at the foot of Mount Beigu, amazing underground stone pipes have been discovered. These ancient structures, which are over 5,000 years old, are astonishing in their complexity and precision. Excavations have shown that the pipes go deep underground and come in various sizes, from small diameters of a few centimeters to huge ones over a meter in diameter. The technology used to create these pipes remains a mystery to modern scientists. How could ancient civilizations carve and install such complex structures? Their origin and purpose remain unknown, which gives rise to many hypotheses and assumptions. Researchers believe these pipes may have been used in an ancient water or ventilation system. However, there is also a more intriguing theory. It is possible that the Beigu stone pipes are evidence of extraterrestrial involvement. The construction's precision and scale raise questions about ancient technologies we may not yet understand. Similar artifacts have also been found in other parts of the world, such as the Colorado Plateau. The pipes here also have a diameter ranging from 50 centimeters to 1. Archaeologists found these pipes developed an iron-rich crust inside. Something similar has been found in Louisiana, United States of America. In this case, the diameter reaches 70 centimeters. The Glozal Tablet. In 1924, clay tablets with mysterious symbols and images were discovered in the small village of Glozal in France, which sparked heated debates in the scientific community. Artifacts discovered by young farmer Emile Frat were so unusual that they couldn't be linked to any known ancient civilization. The tablets contain symbols and images reminiscent of ancient scripts, but their origin and meaning remain unclear. Some researchers have hypothesized that the Glozal tablets could be evidence of a lost or unknown culture that developed in this region thousands of years ago. Another more radical theory suggests that these tablets could be traces of extraterrestrial intervention, although there is very little evidence to support this. However, the tablets' authenticity is still in question. Since their discovery, scientists have conducted numerous studies to determine whether they are genuine. To this day, none of the theories have been definitively confirmed, and the Glozal tablets remain one of the most mysterious archaeological discoveries of the 20th century. Do we have a chance to learn the truth? After all this, a logical question arises. Will we ever actually find out what's really going on? Thousands of testimonies, pilot reports, military documents, ancient artifacts, and global mythological and religious coincidences. Even National Aeronautics and Space Administration is no longer brushing it off, but is creating special commissions. The United States Congress is holding hearings on UFOs. Something is happening, but the details remain hidden. And that's probably the scariest part, because the more you dig into the topic, the more you realize that not all the evidence is out in the open. Perhaps the key to understanding lies not in science fiction, but in how humanity processes the unknown, in religion, myth, fear, and premature technologies. Like with the ancient battery from Iraq, or the laser polishing of Egyptian stones, or the perfectly even blocks in Pumapunku. None of these are proof of UFOs, but they're still unexplained things. Does this mean someone visited us, or are we just interpreting history as we wish? The moon was created by extraterrestrial civilizations. Our satellite is full of mysteries that still intrigue scientists to this day. It's 27.4% the size of Earth, but only 1.2% of its mass. These proportions, along with data showing that the moon rings like a bell when struck by meteorites, suggest that it might be hollow. The crater's depth is surprising, staying between 3 and 4.5 kilometers regardless of meteorite size. This may suggest a strong protective layer beneath the surface. The moon's composition is intriguing. Processed metals such as brass have been found on its surface, as well as radioactive elements including uranium-236 and neptunium-237, which do not occur naturally. The moon is unusually large for a satellite, being 6 times bigger than any other moon compared to its planet. Its exceptional stability without wobbling also distinguishes it among celestial bodies. Mathematical coincidences further enhance the sense of artistry, and the distance to the sun is 108 times its diameter, just as the distance to the moon is 108 times its size. Its perfect geometry allows it to completely cover the sun during eclipses. The moon always shows the same side to Earth, which is rare for satellites, and it stabilizes Earth's axis, influencing climate and biorhythms. These features suggest that the moon is not just a natural object, but possibly the result of artificial intervention, leaving us with more questions than answers. Monolith on Phobos. Phobos, one of Mars's 2 moons, hides an amazing secret. A giant monolith. This monolith, about 85 meters tall, was first discovered in images taken by spacecraft. Its size and regular shape raise many questions among scientists. Some researchers suggest that the monolith could be an artificial structure left by an ancient extraterrestrial civilization. This hypothesis relies on its unique shape and isolation from other geological formations. The monolith looks as if it was deliberately placed at this location. This discovery sparked intense scientific debate and many theories. Some believe that the monolith could be an ancient beacon or a marker left for future space explorers. Others see it as possible evidence of extraterrestrial activity in our solar system. The Fuente Magna Bowl is a mysterious artifact found near Lake Titicaca in Bolivia that also intrigued archaeologists with its unusual depiction. The bowl, named Fuente Magna, is a large stone vessel with strange inscriptions on its surface. Researchers were amazed by these inscriptions, which resembled Sumerian cuneiform, one of the oldest Mesopotamian writing systems. The inscription's unusual nature led to a theory of possible contact between ancient Mesopotamian and South American cultures. Supporters of this hypothesis claimed that the bowl may serve as evidence of unknown migration routes, or even ancient sea voyages that connected these distant regions. However, skeptics point to the high likelihood of forgery. They argue that the bowl could have been created in a later period, possibly even in modern times, with the intention of causing a sensation. Roughly 150 years ago, creating these objects to draw crowds to fairs and profit from gullible people was very popular worldwide. Despite this, the exact origin and meaning of the Fuente Magna Bowl remain unsolved, continuing to attract the interest of archaeologists and lovers of ancient history mysteries. Military abductions and hidden bases. Thousands of stories with hundreds of memoirs, and they're all about the same thing. Contact has already occurred, but not publicly or live on air. It happened secretly, classified as top secret. One of the most discussed cases is the story of Charles James Hall, a United States Air Force veteran who served at Nellis Air Force Base in Nevada. He claims that he worked side by side with extraterrestrials, whites, grays, and Nordics, tall human-like beings. He said whites could live up to 700 years. The contact was official and involved technology exchange. According to another version, the United States authorities allowed the aliens to temporarily base themselves on Earth, supposedly for the sake of technology exchange. A Cold War-style deal. Mutual exchange. But what exactly did people give away? Genetic material, permission for abductions? Yes, abductions. In the 1960s, many stories of nighttime visits, exams, implants, and strange dreams spread across the United States and Europe, leaving scars and fragmented memories. Many abductees were not fanatics or ufologists, but doctors, military personnel, and engineers who suddenly learned too much. Today, people mock or dismiss these stories. But one fact remains: The number of witnesses is too great to simply dismiss them as imagination. Dragon houses Mount Ochi and Dragon Follow. The dragon houses on the island of Evia in Greece are mysterious, megalithic structures that impress with their massiveness and precision. These ancient structures, built from huge stone blocks without the use of mortar, date back to around the 8th century before Christ. C. Legends link the dragon houses to the gods, especially Zeus, depicting them as sites of sacred rituals and homes of ancient dragons guarding the land. Mount Acherna, where some of the dragon houses are located, is considered a place of contact with the gods because of its remoteness and majestic location. In ancient Greek mythology, mountains were seen as homes and manifestation sites for the gods. This mountain, towering over the surrounding landscapes, could have been perceived as a sacred place where divine encounters and rituals took place. Archaeologists face many difficulties when studying these megalithic structures. One of the main mysteries is how the ancient builders were able to transport and place such enormous stone blocks on the tops of mountains. The logistical and technical aspects of their construction are still unclear, especially given the absence of modern tools and equipment. The lack of precise information on when and why these structures were built makes their study and interpretation harder. According to legends, Zeus met people and other gods in these places. The dragons in the stories may have symbolized his power and the protection of sacred sites. There is a theory that the dragon houses could have been places of contact with extraterrestrials. Supporters of this hypothesis claim that the unusual architecture and precise geometry of these structures indicate possible influence from extraterrestrial civilizations. They think ancient Greeks may have seen encounters with extraterrestrials as contacts with gods, which appeared in their myths and legends. Ancient Rome and UFOs. When you think of UFOs, you picture the United States of America Area 51 or the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, not ancient Rome. Who even connects antiquity and aliens? It turns out, not just science fiction writers. There is a real historical source, the Book of Omens by Gaius Julius Obsequens. It details many celestial wonders, glowing shields, floating skyships, flying figures, and strange creatures. Plutarch, Livy, and Pliny the Elder all wrote about this. From their viewpoint, they saw these as omens or punishments from the gods. But really, what did they know about technology? If you saw a shiny round object in the sky but didn't know what an engine, glass, or metal were, how would you describe it? Only through myth and fear. In Rome, an official priest called the Pontific recorded these events in the Annales Maximi Chronicle. And if he saw what we today call an unidentified flying object, he would write down a shining omen or a burning circle in the sky. Now think about it. What if he really did see it? The conclusion is simple. The ancients weren't stupid. They were just adults. 2,000 years later, we are starting to recognize something familiar in these descriptions. The four-eyed figurine. The four-eyed, a mysterious figurine, was discovered in present-day Serbia. The artifact is estimated to be over 7,000 years old, making it among the oldest finds linked to the pre-literate Balkan culture. The figurine depicts a humanoid with four eyes, or possibly with elements resembling a mask. There is a hypothesis that these four eyes are actually part of a mask or a headdress, and the figurine itself might have depicted not a real being, but a mythical or divine creature that was revered in that society. Some even boldly suggest it could be like a spacesuit, hinting at extraterrestrial contact, though this remains purely fantasy. Very little is known about the purpose of the figurine. It might have been used in rituals or served as a symbol of a protector or guardian. This artifact raises more questions than answers and continues to spark debates among archaeologists and mystery enthusiasts. The four-eyed is one of those rare artifacts that not only reveal fragments of the past to us, but also stir our imagination. An out-of-place artifacts are finds that do not fit at all into the traditional ideas about our history. They're found in unexpected places and layers of earth. The most remarkable thing is that, given their age and complexity, these objects couldn't have been made when advanced technology supposedly didn't exist. Official science often declares such finds to be fakes or simply ignores them. There are more of them now, and ignoring it isn't possible anymore. Let's take, for example, the mysterious Baigong metal pipes discovered in China. These pipes go deep into the earth and stretch all the way to the shores of lakes. Their age is estimated to be 150,000 years. Researchers are baffled by the pipe's composition, iron, other minerals, and their ancient age. Some believe that this is the result of natural processes, but others think that the pipes could be traces of a highly advanced civilization, or even left by aliens. Still, the 350-million-year-old forged nail remains a mystery. This nail was discovered in Paleozoic era rock, a time when neither humans, nor, even more so, metalworking existed yet. How could such a nail end up in ancient rock layers? Some scientists cite tectonic processes, while others mention unknown civilizations' intervention. In Provence, fossilized tools were found that could have been made by humans, or even from ancient trees. If this findings indicate the existence of intelligent beings who had woodworking skills long before the first known civilizations appeared, other discoveries are even stranger. In Antarctica, the Altanin antenna was discovered, which at first looked like a high-tech object. However, it was later found to be just a sea sponge. Nevertheless, the very fact of such a misconception shows how much we can be mistaken when faced with the inexplicable. Giant humanoid footprints were found next to dinosaur tracks. This discovery challenges our view of Earth's life timeline, as evolution theory says dinosaurs and humans never coexisted. There are other examples as well. The anomaly on Mount Ararat, which is associated with Noah's Ark, the clay figurine from Nampa, whose age is unclear, or the Wolfsegg iron, which is believed to be a remnant from a prehistoric era. We shouldn't forget about the Tucson artifacts. This is a collection of 31 lead objects found in 1924 near Picture Rocks, Arizona. These artifacts include crosses, swords, and other items engraved with inscriptions in Latin and Hebrew, as well as images resembling medieval symbols. It was initially assumed that they were created by ancient Mediterranean civilizations that supposedly crossed the Atlantic in the 1st century. However, later, many scholars considered them a hoax, created in modern times to mislead researchers. In any case, each of these artifacts calls our understanding of the past into question and opens the door to new theories and research. Perhaps our history is far more astonishing and mysterious than we could have imagined. Yonaguni Monument. Off the coast of Japan, near Yonaguni Island, lies one of the most mysterious underwater structures, the Yonaguni Monument. This massive stone complex was discovered in 1986 by Japanese diver Kihachiro Aratake. The structure lay at a depth of about 25 meters, resembling giant terraces and platforms, giving the impression of an ancient megalithic complex. The origin of the Yonaguni Monument is still a subject of debate. Some scientists believe that the structure is a natural geological formation that has undergone erosion. However, the symmetry and clear lines resembling steps and walls lead many researchers to suggest that it is a man-made structure. Supporters of the ancient civilization theory point to possible similarities with other megalithic structures, such as the pyramids of Egypt or the structures in Malta. These hypotheses raise questions about what technologies could have been used to create such structures thousands of years ago. The most intriguing hypothesis is extraterrestrial intervention. Some researchers think only knowledge and technology from extraterrestrials could explain these massive, complex constructions. The Yonaguni Monument continues to attract the attention of scientists and mystery enthusiasts from all over the world, as well as unidentified flying object and hoax researchers. One of the most sensational stories is the so-called Roswell alien autopsy. That video showing a strange creature with a large head lying on a table while doctors remove something from it. Back in the 90s, the video was shown on television to millions of people, and almost everyone believed it. But later, it turned out to be staged. Ray Santilli, the video's creator, later admitted the film was a recreation since the real footage was supposedly lost. He still insists he saw the original and the footage matches what was shown to CIA employees. And here's what's interesting. Even after he admitted it was a fake, people continued to believe in it. Now, this fragment is being sold as a non-fungible token for $1 million. Why do this? What does a fake offer? What does it give? Mainly excitement, attention, belief, and money. More buzz makes truth harder to find and speculation easier to believe. And here's the question. If even lies help strengthen belief, who is blurring the line between facts and fakes, and why? Message from Extraterrestrials. Easter Island, lost in the southern part of the Pacific Ocean, became famous for its giant moai stone statues and the mysterious wooden tablets with rongorongo inscriptions. These ancient tablets, covered in strange hieroglyphs, still remain one of the greatest archaeological mysteries. Scientists think rongorongo was the script of the Rapa Nui civilization, which thrived on the island until the 18th century. The history of their discovery begins in 1864, when the French missionary Eugène Hérault first noticed the wooden tablets covered with unusual signs. The tablets, made from Toromiro wood, native to the island, were found in nearly every home. However, soon most of these artifacts disappeared due to internal wars and destruction. About 25 tablets have survived, and their study has revealed a unique writing style that resembles an inverted bustro fadon. Previously, only the Incas had used this way of recording symbols. The tablets depict figures of animals, plants, and anthropomorphic beings. Scientists suggest that these symbols might have been used to record rituals and myths. There's strong interest in the similarities between rongorongo and other ancient scripts. Some signs resemble ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs, Indian scripts, and symbols from the Harappan civilization in the Indus Valley. Parallels have also been made with Kuna Indian scripts from Central America and drawings on Sumatra. This leads to theories about ancient cultures being connected across the ocean. Attempts to decipher rongorongo continue, but the scripts remain largely undeciphered. One theory is that it refers to rituals with sacrifices to the gods. Another, more fantastical hypothesis suggests an extraterrestrial origin for these signs, hinting at contact with alien civilizations. Otherwise, how could people living on different continents in those distant times have had similar writing systems? Despite having many connections via phones, satellites, and the internet, we still speak different languages. Rongorongo's mystery remains, yet its study still inspires scientists and enthusiasts worldwide. Indonesian star path. In 1992, geologist Casilio made a discovery that still causes shock to this day. In Kapanga, Indonesia, he explored Devil's Cave in the mountains and found an unusual stone. Mysterious symbols were engraved on its fracture, resembling a map of a star path. The stone's markings closely resemble images from the plaques National Aeronautics and Space Administration sent into space with the Pioneer 10 and 11 probes in the 1970s. The stone shows a man and woman holding hands, along with the sun, stars, and root-like lines. Geologists claim that the stone was worked on hundreds of thousands of years ago. This casts doubt on its earthly origin, since people at that time supposedly could not have possessed such knowledge. Conspiracy theorists suggest that aliens received the message from the Pioneer probe, but made a miscalculation and missed the timing, ending up on Earth hundreds of thousands of years ago. Perhaps they got stuck here and left their mark in the form of this stone. Another theory suggests the stone was made by an advanced civilization that lived in Indonesia long before our time. The map depicts a star system with 1 star and 7 planets, almost an exact replica of the solar system. Scientists now recognize 8 planets, but Neptune was once thought to be an asteroid. Whoever the authors of the mysterious stone were, their knowledge of the stars remains a mystery, astonishing modern science. When did the sky gods descend from the heavens? There is a strange pattern in human history. Almost every religion begins with the appearance of something from the sky. Someone hears a voice, another sees a light, and another meets a shining being. Why does this sound so much like current unidentified flying object encounter descriptions? Ufologist John Keel states in Operation Trojan Horse that historical beings are the same ultra entities we encounter today. They just adapted to the times. Once it was angels, archangels, and heavenly chariots. Now it's humanoids in silver suits. The essence is the same. Keel claimed that they can heal, predict events, and cause mass visions. The same thing happened in biblical times. Some of these contacts grew into entire movements in cults like Raelism, where it is directly claimed that humanity was created by aliens. The founder of the sect, Claude Vorillon, claims that he met with an unidentified flying object, visited another planet, and received instructions from there. Where's the line between religion, cults, and contact with non-human intelligence? Or are they all the same, just explained in different words? The Flying Stones Mystery. India is always shrouded in mysteries and secrets. In any corner of it, you can encounter something amazing and incredible. Many people come here for new experiences, to discover unknown spiritual abilities within themselves. Once you've visited this amazing country, it's impossible to forget it. A mystery of India is the levitating stones in Shivapur, a small village 200 kilometers from Bombay. Near the local temple, there are several boulders that weigh more than 50 kilograms. According to the locals, these can rise into the air. To lift the first heavier stone, it takes 11 men. They have to stand around it and say certain words. Afterward, the stone levitates and can be held up with a single finger. The smaller boulder requires 9 men to lift it. A third stone, weighing over 60 kilograms, can only be lifted by the temple's monks. The origin of these stones is mysterious. Some believe they were sent by the gods, while others think they broke off from a nearby cliff. A local resident who takes care of the temple claims that the stones crack from time to time, and he replaces them with new ones by breaking them off from the cliff. But even the new stones retain their flying properties. Some scientists claim ancient people could move objects with their minds, such as when building the Egyptian pyramids. Perhaps the knowledge of levitation was lost, but sometimes it resurfaces in places like Shivapur. Interestingly, in the last century, Edvard Litskalnin, an immigrant from Latvia, used similar methods to build his coral castle in Florida, which only confirms the existence of such knowledge. These unexplained phenomena support the idea that extraterrestrials may have influenced ancient civilizations, possibly passing some technologies or methods to humanity. Dangers and mystical deaths. People who talk about their encounters with UFOs face several dangers. One of the main threats is social condemnation. Witnesses are often ridiculed and not taken seriously, which can negatively affect their personal and professional lives. In addition, there are more serious risks, including psychological pressure, threats, and even physical danger, especially if their testimony involves a secret government program or military facilities. There are several examples of mysterious deaths and unidentified flying object S. For example, James MacDonald, a well-known scientist and unidentified flying object researcher, allegedly committed suicide in 1971 after a series of mysterious events and threats. Morris Jesop, author of The Case for the Unidentified Flying Object, also died under suspicious circumstances in 1959, raising suspicions of outside interference. There are programs to protect witnesses and unidentified flying object researchers. Some organizations provide legal support and security consultations. There are many theories about the connection between the deaths of unidentified flying object researchers and their work. Some suggest that governments or secret organizations eliminate people who possess dangerous knowledge or reveal confidential information. Others believe that these deaths may be the result of psychological pressure and stress associated with studying and disclosing such information. The mystery of the Jurivskaya civilization. In Iran, in the ancient city of Jiroft, archaeologists discovered unique artifacts. These findings, which are over 5,000 years old, are clay and stone items with images of unusual creatures and symbols. Special attention is given to figures with long heads and big eyes, similar to descriptions of extraterrestrial beings. The images on Jir civilization artifacts are so unique compared to other ancient cultures that some researchers suggest possible contact with extraterrestrial civilizations. These hypotheses are based on the idea that ancient artists might have depicted what they saw or heard about. The findings also contain complex geometric patterns and undeciphered symbols. This only adds to the mystery of this ancient culture. The Juravskaya civilization's mysterious artifacts draw interest from both archaeologists and fans of mysticism and the unexplained. Alien skulls. A few years back, American and European media sensationally reported the discovery of alien skulls in a Russian cave. These odd skulls, which looked distinctly non-human, sparked significant controversy. Many speculated that they could have belonged to aliens or creatures unknown to science. However, soon journalists claimed that the whole story was a hoax, and it quickly disappeared from the news headlines. These skulls might have been part of an ancient ritual, or simply altered remains of animals. The alien skulls were found to have a strange shape, but it's interesting to imagine what the person who first discovered them in a dark, cold cave must have felt. It's one thing to see them in a photograph, and quite another to hold this mysterious artifact in your hands, evoking a feeling of both fear and curiosity. Even though this discovery turned out to be a hoax, it remains an interesting reminder of how myths and facts can intertwine, creating amazing stories. How did UFOs become a new religion? Aliens are now common in our world, not just science fiction. Memes, movies, YouTube, Telegram channels, merch. Aliens are not just a topic. They're a cultural phenomenon that has long gone beyond ufology. But how did this happen? It all started back in the 20th century with books, rumors, and strange reports where supposedly miraculous footage showed alien corpses, and classified sources surfaced with confessions. Experiments in Area 51. Talk shows, investigations, documentaries, and scandals stopped being marginal and became mainstream. For example, the fake footage of the Roswell alien autopsy, a complete hoax made in the 90s, got millions of viewers. It was exposed. So what? It just made fans believe it more. If they're hiding it, there must be some truth. Charles Ford, founder of this movement, said early in the century, science rejects too much, and the official explanation isn't always true. His ideas inspired a generation of anomaly hunters. He said, if strange things are happening, it means we have the wrong picture of the world. Today, science, politics, and religion all cause skepticism. But as for aliens, for some reason people believe in them even more than in the government. Reality seems to have changed. UFOs are a new mythology, a new religion. Instead of angels, there are grays instead of prophets, contactees, and instead of sacred books, leaks from forums, TikTok, and reports. And you know what's scarier? This belief already controls society. In 2023, the United States Congress seriously discussed the topic of UFOs. Hearings, reports, generals at the podium. No one laughed because the meme became real. In a world full of fakes, aliens symbolize truth or the quest for it. Paradoxically, it's true, they were involved in the crucifixion story. An ancient Georgian painting of Jesus Christ's crucifixion drew attention for a mysterious, unidentified flying object. Behind the cross, there's an object resembling a giant button with legs. One of the characters in the painting is even pointing at it with his hand, which seems to be a deliberate emphasis by the artist. The origin of the painting and the name of its author remain unknown, although it is believed that the image was created about 1,000 years ago in the 11th century. The church where this painting is located dates back to an even earlier period, the 5th century, although the current building was constructed between 1010 and 1029. Some believe that this object could have represented guardian angels, although this contradicts the traditional depictions of angels from that era, who were usually shown with wings. Others suggest that the artist may have intentionally depicted something resembling flying saucers as part of a broader symbolism. It could be an allegory or an element of a religious myth that has not survived in modern interpretations. The painting continues to spark interest and debate, offering a unique perspective on the combination of religious art and unexplained symbols that still remain a mystery. The unicorn's horn. Allow me to introduce you to the life of the medieval unicorn. This creature, although mythical, faced cruel treatment from humanity. People hunted unicorns for their magical horns, which, according to legend, had unique properties, such as the ability to purify water and remove poison from food. Unicorns were believed to exist according to the testimonies of many ancient scholars, including Aristotle and Ctesias, as well as great minds like Leonardo da Vinci. In the Middle Ages, unicorns represented purity and wisdom. Their horns symbolized prosperity and were believed to detect poison food for the aristocracy. But how can you find a unicorn horn in a world where these creatures don't exist? This question was answered by using the horns of other animals, such as rhinoceroses or walruses. The most popular were narwhal tusks from Arctic animals, whose twisted tusks were wrongly thought to be unicorn horns for centuries. Travelers and hunters secretly obtained these horns and sold them to Europeans as the horns of mythical creatures. Merchants and rulers like Lorenzo Medici and Queen Elizabeth I paid large sums for these tusks, seeing them as symbols of power and protection. Even the great inquisitor Tomás de Torquemada never traveled without a piece of such a horn, believing it could save his life from heretics. With the development of science and the advancement of research methods, belief in the miraculous properties of unicorn horns faded, and now they remain only as exhibits in museums, a reminder of how legends and reality intertwined in human history. Nukuhiva bas-reliefs. Archaeologists are fascinated by mysterious statues on Nukuhiva, a Marquesas Islands island in French Polynesia. The bas-reliefs and sculptures depict strange beings that resemble gray aliens. They have human bodies but reptile-like heads featuring large round eyes and low-set mouths. Who created these statues and for what purpose is unknown. The modern natives of the island know nothing about the origin of the sculptures and believe that they depict the ancient god Onu, who, according to their beliefs, created the world. When Europeans arrived in the 16th century, the island was inhabited by gatherers known for cannibalism. However, the link between current residents and the statue creators has disappeared. Archaeologists believe these sculptures are at least 150,000 years old. Some believe that they depict priests in ritual masks, but such masks look too unusual to be just a part of earthly culture. Supporters of the conspiracy theory are convinced that a colony of aliens once lived on Nukuhiva. In their opinion, the statues depict human-alien hybrids, and the sculptures themselves are evidence of ancient experiments. And what if all of this is true? Let's be honest. What if this is not just a coincidence of myth and fantasy? What if someone really is watching us? What if it's not us? The pinnacle of evolution, yet only one project in a long series of experiments. What if ancient people actually communicated with beings we call gods, who were really visitors from elsewhere? What if religion, prophecies, signs in the sky, and humanity's origin are all parts of a single hidden story? Or maybe it's a story we aren't ready to understand, or they're not ready to contact us. There are too many coincidences, mistakes in the official history, and phenomena that are easier to ignore. But someday everything might come together. After all, as Carl Sagan wrote, absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. I'm not claiming that all these stories are true, but turning a blind eye to them means missing something important. Because maybe it's in these fragments, in these anomalies, in these inconvenient questions that the truth we don't yet know is hidden. I don't want to believe blindly, but I also can't ignore it. When the same images come from all over the world, from different eras, from different cultures, flying ships, glowing entities, contacts with gods who taught, punished, disappeared, and maybe will return again. People have long wondered about our origins. What if the answer is already here and we've just been searching in the wrong place? And if we're not alone, then who is watching us from the sky?